I finally did it. I finally got myself an old Mercedes. This is my 1972 Mercedes 300 SEL. And oh my God, is it ever cool. I wanted one for quite a while and the right car never came up until now. So it's a really good example. The previous owner bought it in the late 70s and he's quite the Mercedes enthusiast, owned it, maintained it well, and drove it until around 2000. So it's been parked for about 20 years, but it was stored well and it looks incredible. The chrome, the seals, the interiors, it's all in really nice shape. It does need a little bit of work, however, and we'll get to that. But this is a W109, which means it's kind of the luxury model. I'm learning a lot about these cars, and I guess in the beginning the W9 would be only designated for the long wheelbase cars. However, they changed that, I think, when they introduced air suspension. So this thing does have air suspension. The 109 is a long wheelbase luxury model, I guess. They have air suspension and they also have this chrome here. That's kind of the easiest way to tell from the outside versus a 108. But it's quite the car. Power windows, air conditioning, of course power steering, but it's pretty fancy. It's very cool. I'll give you a walk around. Let's start at the back of the car. This thing has a huge trunk and huge trunk lid. What makes it extra special to me is the badge here, 300 SEL. This is the Mercedes I was looking for. This is kind of the best Mercedes had to offer at the time, and well, they're kind of hard to find now. The production numbers are interesting. The 250 and 280 SEs and SELs, they made roughly 360,000. They only made 18,000 of the 109s. So it's a huge production difference, and that makes it kind of special. What makes it extra special is the 4.5 liter. Now the 4.5 liter I think is 1 year only. It was meant to replace like the 6.3 liter in North America. It's a little toned down. It has roughly 200 horsepower and 270 foot-pounds of torque. So it still is a pretty decent power plant, but it kind of has to be. This thing weighs close to 4,000 pounds. And while all the chrome, the metal, obviously the air suspension stuff doesn't help. It is a heavy unit. I love this thing. It's such a simple design. The small taillights, the chrome bumpers, actually has a stainless exhaust. I think it looks awesome. It's one of those timeless Mercedes, if that makes sense. It's definitely what I think of when I think of Mercedes. All right, open the trunk and you are greeted to quite a spacious area here. One thing I find very funky with this car is how they mounted the spare tire. This is original, this is how it sits. The big wing nut here, but it's such a goofy, I don't know why they did it that way. Another cool feature of this car is central locking. Now, I do have an air compressor in the front for the air suspension, but they utilize this for central locking as well. So this funky thing is to lock the gas cap. It's a huge little actuator. Then you can take the gas cap off and put it in here to hold it. Moving on from the back onto the rear wheel, you'll notice it is a little lower than it should be, and that is because of the air suspension. It does leak. Very slow leak, mind you, but over the course of a few weeks, this thing will just drop. Now, there is a lever in the front driver's side, and that controls what would be kind of ground clearance. You can pull it up, and you gain an extra 2 inches of height. And this setting, I think you're only allowed to go like 60 or 80 kilometers in. This is just to gain a little bit of ground clearance for those rough roads. But that lever, when you pull it in the wrong position, it just like leaks like crazy out of the front or the back, and the car will just like drop within a few minutes. So, need some attention. But we'll move on to the interior. Here is the interior. It is in actually really nice shape. It's a nice brown. It definitely suits the color of the car, I think. And yeah, it's never been restored. It needs a bit of a cleaning, but otherwise, quite nice shape. Unfortunately, mice did get into the headliner. Just in a little bit though, not too bad. And there's a few quirks, like this thing, for example. I don't know what's going on there. And This is what I was talking about earlier with the W109 being the more luxury model. So this wood here is kind of 109 specific. Looks good actually, and then there's wood along the top as well. So that stuff would definitely make this car a little bit pricier at the time. That is a whole real wood. But yeah, really nice. Power windows, of course. It's a nice shape. Moving on to the front two seats. Again, we have the same wood. It's actually a nice shape as well. And then quite a beautiful dash. Love the look of this. It's actually in decent shape. There's a few small cracks in the dash, but it's very nice. This is, so, go through the controls. This is your air conditioning. And then here we have our power windows. I have zero idea what this thing does. Might be for the fog lights, but it doesn't work. The radio isn't original, and well, these controls have disintegrated. They're actually, okay, let's put that back in there. Otherwise, it's actually a nice shape. Chrome, these little vents. Any plastic and stuff is kind of not exactly the best, but check this out. So this glove box lid is fully wood, so it's one piece of wood. That's quality. Of course, I do have the original owner's manuals. I love this sort of stuff. Very cool. 300 SEL. That's awesome. I think one thing these old Mercedes were known for is, oh yeah, that's solid. Now moving on to the driver's side. Nice gauges. So this is a super goofy thing I discovered. I can add mileage by turning the odometer. So weird. I'm miling it out. Should stop doing that. Very goofy. Light switch here, volume from left to right is here. Not sure why. Then your key. Nice. Just driving a train. This is the handle I was talking about for the suspension. You pull this out and you gain 2 inches. Now it's kind of like half pulled right now. I've been wiggling it so I avoid the immediate leaks. Ooh, here's all 200 German horsepower. Seems to run good. So this is the computer for the fuel injection. It's kind of an interesting system. It actually has basically the same as modern day fuel injectors in it. It's kind of cool. It seems like a really good motor actually. I think I can be pretty lucky. This here is part of your air suspension. So this is where you can fill up on alcohol. That's just to basically separate any moisture. There's a little tank underneath here to drain the moisture out. Interesting. And this handle here, it's like not really a handle, it's a cable. That is connected to the handle that raises the air suspension. So this kind of controls, there's a little check valve. So when I spin this in the wrong position, it will leak. And the car drops. We have now entered baller mode. I don't know about you, but I love this thing low. It looks so cool in my opinion. I hope to, at least when I redo the air suspension, to maybe make it so I can control this without it actually leaking out. But it looks so cool. It's definitely amazing how good this car looks. It is actually going to need a lot of work to get back on the road. It's going to need brakes rebuilt. Obviously the suspension I need to look into. I don't think even all the lights work. Just a whole bunch of little stuff, and then like new fuel lines, new fuel pump, all that fun stuff. It is quite the project, but I do seem to like projects. And if you like projects, well, my buddy Alex makes these guys. It's actually quite cool. I'll put a link in the description of where you can get this, but what makes it extra special, at least to me, is Alex is a machinist and he makes them all himself in his garage. But he actually built the CNC to make these cars, and he does all the programming and like designing everything to make it. And then yeah, he sells them on Etsy. Very cool though. It comes as a disassembled kit, so it's perfect for kids to put together. It's well done though. Yeah, very cool. I guess he's coming out with all sorts of different models too. So yeah, thought I'd share that. So here we have 4x4 mode. It's cool how the air suspension still works. This is what I mentioned earlier with the handle on the driver's side and the interior, just to pull that and then you get this height. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully I can start digging into this thing soon.